Hello everyone and welcome back to the breaking news Nigeria. So guys, big news is coming from the National Assembly. The Joint Committee has reportedly approved the creation of an additional state in the Southeast. This is a major development that could reshape the political and economic landscape of the region. Now, according to Senator Ned Nwoko, this move, he said the creation of one more state alongside the release of Nnamdi Kanu will go a long way in bringing peace to the Southeast. Like, Ned Nwoko strongly believes that Kanu's continued detention is unjust and that it has been the major cause of unrest and insecurity in the region. So he said, this is what he said: the creation of an additional state and the release of Nnamdi Kanu will bring stability, justice, and unity to our people. But this particular thing he said has sparked a wild range of reactions. People from the south say yes, this is a step in the right direction, while others are questioning the priority, saying why not focus on opening the seaport, fixing our roads, and investing in industries that will truly help the region's economy. So me personally, I think Ned Nwoko's call touches the emotional core of the Southeast, because for many, Nnamdi Kanu's detention represents deeper injustice. It's not just about one man, but about the political marginalization and security tension that have persisted for years. And if we remember, Nnamdi Kanu himself once said that if he's released within just a few minutes, everything happening in the Southeast in terms of insecurity will come to an end. So guys, I would love you guys to listen to what Ned Nwoko said and really listen, care for him, all he said about Nnamdi Kanu. And I'm going to be right back. Please drop your thoughts in the comment section below.
It's being all over the media in the last few days.
It happens.
For personal family reasons.
It happens.
I hope everything is calm.
Well, we are
under
trying to manage
control.
The situation.
Yeah,
yes.
You're a man of many parts.
Yes.
People underestimate you though.
Oh, do they?
Your capacity.
Well, I am who I am.
You're an Old Testament man.
Yes, I am.
But everything is on the cam right now.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's not the business of the day, so let's go to the business of the day. Why are you advocating? You are the major pusher, especially on the floor of the Senate. And you have argued with your colleagues the need for an Anioma state. And don't even begin the conversation around marginalization, because that's the first thing, because people will say, we have Southwest 6 states, South 6 states, Northeast 6 states, North Central 6 states, Northwest 7 states, but Southeast 5 states. Is that part of the agenda to fix the Southeast that seems to be smaller in terms of the number of states, or what?
Well, almost just over a year ago, I had a meeting with the President Bola Ahmed TINUBU, where I discussed about the problems of Southeast, the insecurity in Southeast. What do we do to address it? And he knows the problems, and he also has an idea. The whole idea is that there should be some level of equity extended to the Igbos of Southeast by having an additional state. It wasn't going to be an easy task, to create one, but it is doable. And I'm happy that we have come this far. The point is this: even at that time, it was understood that the problems of Southeast, the agitations of the youths of Southeast, the killings there, the referring to the ESN groups and ESN and IPOB and the rest of them, these are young people who have come up to say that they are fighting for freedom because they are marginalized, and one of the areas that they've all spoken about and against is the fact that they are the only zone. Southeast is the only zone in Nigeria that has 5 states. Why is that? Why was it done intentionally to undermine them? Of course, yes. And from engaging those youths, it became so obvious that if a step is taken in creating one state, just one state, to bring it apart with the 5 other zones, let's leave Northwest out of this now, at least bring it apart to the 4 other zones, then something would have been done for them. Yes, they are clamoring for different things, but I mean, not least, of course, the release of Nnamdi Kanu. They're asking for it. We know that that is something that has to be done. You know, you will just say
Nnamdi Kanu to be
yes, yeah, of course.
Why do you think so?
Nnamdi Kanu has been in custody for some time now. I believe that he has been held unjustly. Many people feel that way.
As a lawyer, do you think so?
Oh yes, yes.
That the judicial process is unjust?
Yes, yeah. No, it has been. There's a lot of delays in prosecuting him and all that. If you want to get him tried and convicted, get on with it. You know. But this is a guy who has been held unjustly, as I said, you know, for so many months.
And the Buhari government started it.
Oh, yeah, I'm not talking about this government.
Trial. No, so the point I'm even making now.
I'm talking about the previous government under Buhari.
When it's facing a judicial process right now.
Yes.
Saying is just because the argument is that there should be a political solution. Maybe a null prosecution should be established on that for the case to be withdrawn. But there are those who say, well, there are allegations and it's left for the law for him to have his day in court, which is in process.
But as you know, there has been some pronouncements by the Federal High Court, which has not been respected. You know, so his incarceration is the main reason for the crisis in Southeast.
But the crisis started before he was even arrested.
No.
The killings, the burning of police station, the killing of police officers and all whatnot.
Well, look, the problem in Southeast is very different from what is said in the Northeast or Northwest and all those areas. You know, the problem in Southeast has to do with the perceived injustice by governments, successive governments. So what needs to be done? And one of it's why I'm here today, you know, talking about the creation of states to make up the number up to 5. And then you have the release of Nnamdi Kanu. By the time you do these two things, I am almost certain that peace will return to Southeast.
Let me ask you this question, Senator.
I have spoken to so many youths in Southeast, from Southeast, and they have assured me that that they are prepared to be engaged by us, by the leadership. You know, when this is done, they don't want to die. The youths don't want to die. They want to go back to schools. They want to go back to their jobs. All they want is some level of respect and acknowledgement by the nation, by the government of Nigeria.
I want to ask you, and this exists in almost every region of the country, where you have your brothers in different states and all whatnot. Are there Igbos outside of the 5 states of the Southeast in Nigeria today?
Well, I'm surprised you're asking.
No, because for the sake of our...
Yes, for the sake of your listeners.
Yeah.
Let me say this. When it was Western Nigeria, when we had Western Nigeria, I'm sure you've heard of some people being described as Western Igbos. Subsequently, when Midwest was created, by referendum, as you know, they were called Midwest Igbos. Then the name changed to Bendel. They were called Bendel Igbos. And of course, Delta came up with Edo State. And now they're called the Delta Igbos. And that is the Aniomas, the people, our people.
9 local governments
areas.
In that senatorial district.
And we are almost completely Igbos. Of course, there are arguments about some areas, some people have come from Igala or come from Benin. But the fact is that, according to Delta State gazetted laws, there are only 5 ethnic groups in Delta. The Urhobos, the Igbos, the Ejos, the Shekiris, and the Isokos. There's no mention of Benin. There's no mention of Yorubas, or also within Delta North.
Apart from Delta North, there are those who say, and you might be touching the wrong nerve here. In River State, for example, there are Igbos there.
Oh, of course,
the Ikweres.
Opobos.
Or the Opobos.
They're everywhere. Igbos are everywhere. Igbos actually.
So if you create, for example, are you hoping that they will join the Anioma State, or Anioma State is going to solely from your proposition and the literature that they have put forward, is going to be solely from the 9 local government areas of Delta North?
Look, initially, my bill my bill was centered around the 9 local government areas of Delta North. And however, a lot has happened since then. But if you look at the explanatory note to my bill, it talks about the Anioma state to become the 6th state of Southeast, the 37th state of the country.
Does the Southeast, so the 5 states in the Southeast see you as Igbos?
Of course, yes.
And I've heard, I don't speak much of Igbo, but I've heard
I can tell you, look,
the funkified Igbos of the Anomas.
No. Every language has dialects. Every language, even Yorubas, from Lagos to Oyo to...
Even the Enugu Igbo is different from the Abia Igbo, is different from the Onitsha Igbo.
Of course, yes. But we are all Igbos. Anioma is historically an Igbo enclave. And there's no doubt about that. From our names to our language, to our culture, our tradition, our food, everything is Igbo. And we have always identified ourselves as Igbos. Of course, there were 2 reasons why, for so many, almost like centuries, we were kept at the back burner, kind of confined to Western Nigeria. And why most people or some people from my area seem to have gotten to the point where they were not sure whether they were Igbos or not Igbos. But majority of us understand who we are and understand where we've come from. And let me just explain what I mean. There are, during the war, the Civil War, most people, we had the Asaba massacre. After the Asaba massacre and the rest of the killings within our area, we were told as kids that if you see Nigerian soldiers, you must not admit that you are Igbo. You must tell them that you're from Benin or that you are Yoruba. These are kind of things that we had to do to survive the ethnic cleansing that happened at that time. So, of course, there was also this issue of Benin Empire. At the time there was a Benin Empire where, the Benin at its heights extended their tentacles to our area. So much so that some people began to think that they were Benis, but we're not Benis, we're Igbos. There's nothing Benin about us.
So you have people from Agbo, from Kwale, part of, I'm looking at the major areas of the north, the north now that we now seed into what we now be called Anioma state. The question is the Ukwani people, they are opposing it.
No, they are not. No.
And have you heard some of the leaders who say they are vehemently opposing
it? They're just some vocal guys who are saying that they don't oppose the creation of Anioma state. Let me say this such a way. I don't know any Anioma person, man or woman, who is opposed to the creation of Anioma state. Some of them say, they don't want to be part of Southeast because they are not Igbos. But they are just few and far between. There are very few of them.
Out of the 9 local governments. How many of those are Igbo speaking?
All of them.
Of the 9.
All of them, we all speak Igbo.
Ukwani don't speak Igbo.
Oh, they do.
Ukwani people, they majorly speak Igbo.
No, they speak Igbo. Ukwani speak Igbo. The Ikas speak Igbo. They call it Ika Igbo, as you know. And there is no Anioma son or daughter without an Igbo name. You go ask yourself.
Is there a general consensus of an Anioma, of all the 9 local government areas?
To create Anioma, of course, yes. But this has been a long-standing agitation. As you know, it didn't start with me. It started with the second Senate President in Federal Republic of Nigeria, Sir Dennis Osadebe, so many years ago, over 70 years ago.
Economically speaking, Senator, how do we defend this? We're already complaining that we have to overbloated government.
We've gone beyond that. Delta North is rich economically. We out of the 9 local government areas, 6 of those local government areas are oil and gas producing.
And Anioma can feed itself.
Anioma, of course, completely.
What are the potentials?
I've just told you. We have
apart from oil and gas,
we have huge deposits of oil and gas. That is a lot because we have the largest gas deposit in Africa. You should know that. in the coordination. Then, of course, we have agricultural lands. We have Delta North is the home of Nollywood. I'm sure you know that. And we have most of the big businesses in Nigeria, the television houses or media are from, or banking sector are from Anioma. I'm sure you know that. So we are more than self-sufficient.
Are the Delta people happy with this plan?
But we've gone beyond this.
No,
now.
the reason is that
let me tell you, we've gone beyond this now because at the retreat 2 days ago in Lagos, the consensus between the House and the Senate committees on constitutional amendment is that there should be one state for Southeast
to make it
6.
So we have 7.
Yes, and then after that, then there will be one state per zone to make it 7-7 to bring it apart with Northwest.
Well, I'm not sure Nigerians are happy with more states. The ones that we have, at some point they were they couldn't feed themselves. They couldn't pay salaries. Now we're going to be creating. How do you convince the average Nigerian that really creation of state is the way to go?
Are you aware that in Delta State, for example, that we have the largest allocation every month? Largest allocation for FAC. Are you aware of that? And this comes from oil and gas resources. Delta North has almost 40% of that allocation. And that 40% is more than what you have in maybe Ebonyi or in Enugu or in Zamfara. So we are much more ready than most current states. We have the resources. That's not the issue.
So as a lawyer, quickly, because we're due for another break, as a lawyer, if you look at the position of the Constitution in state creation, in delineation, boundary adjustment, and local government creation, it's very clear of how the processes on how to create a state. Have you met that criteria as stipulated by the Constitution, where the Constitution stipulates that there will be a referendum in the areas, in all of the areas, where this state creation proposition is coming from? Have you been able to meet that?
Of course, yes. Referendum will come in the next few weeks, I'm sure, or months. Almost certainly before the end of the year. We've gotten the guidelines. And for this particular creation of Anioma State, the referendum will not be limited to just the 9 local government areas. It will extend to all the 5 southeastern states because we are trying to take the slot that belongs to southeastern states.
Why are you so passionate about this?
Because it's an institution that's been 70-something years by our forefathers.
What if this fails, if it doesn't happen?
Well, it's life. At least we would have tried our best. But who would have thought that we would have gotten to where we are now? Who would have thought so? So it's something that our forefathers fought for. They traveled and traversed across the country trying to, lobby, trying to, ask others to support them. But now we're doing it from within National Assembly through a bill, as I said, and there is really nothing that will stop it.
All right, give me a moment. We need to go on the break. But when we come back, in truth, if this goes through and passes through all of the processes of lawmaking in the National Assembly, what are the implications? Will these douse all of the agitation and quiet the noises coming from the southeast region of the country? What are the dynamics politically, economically, and culturally? We'll be right back after this break, everyone. Thank you so much, everyone. Senator Ned Nwoko has been pushing for Anioma State alongside some members of the National Assembly. But is this personal for him? Is it one that everyone has keyed into, or is just acting all by himself in all of this? How far will this go? Senator, in all of this, what gives you the optimism that this is going to be successful?
I am an optimist generally, and there's really nothing that I've put my mind to that I've not achieved. I remember many years ago I told them I wanted to build a sports university. They said, "But why sports university?" And I said, "Look, there's need for a sports university." Many people didn't believe it would happen, but now we are in our third year running. Many years ago, I said I wanted to go to Antarctica. People said, why do you want to go to Antarctica? Nobody goes there. And I did, just to prove a point. And then, of course, when I started to work on the Paris Club reforms, people said, but it's not possible to take British government to court. It's not possible to take American government to court or the French. But I said, well, it is doable. And I did.
You have done so many impossible things.
Of course, yes. So
this personally, you have done many impossible things.
Tell me what it is. But
you married 4 wives. That's almost like impossible. Isn't it?
That's another
kettle of
another topic for
we need a lecture on how you can be able to achieve that.
Every man should do that. Every man should do that.
The Bible does not prescribe that.
Oh, the Old Testament does. Old Testament.
So you're a man of Old Testament.
I am a man of
faith. To marry
I'm
more.
a man of faith. Yes.
You're planning to marry more?
Well, look, that's not what we're here for.
I'm just asking. By the way, what do you have 4? I mean, how did you achieve that? That's incredible.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you have a wife, but you also have girlfriends. That's the difference.
I don't actually.
Come on,
I'm a Christian, 1 wife. That's what the Bible preaches.
I will make some research. Do some research about you.
Please do. Find out. But in all of this, how do you manage it? Because it's incredibly difficult to even manage being with a partner. Not talk of 1, 2, 3, and 4. You don't have any regrets.
The example I gave is this. Just imagine telling you to stand on 1 foot, on 1 leg. You know how difficult it is. But to stand on 2, 3, 4 is much more balanced. That's just the example I gave.
Wow.
Do you understand it? So I feel sorry for those who have 1 wife, because it's difficult to stand on 1 leg.
And you don't have any regrets?
No.
If you have your way, you still
I will do the same thing again and again. Of course, yes.
And you have a knack of marrying beautiful women.
Wow.
And young ones too.
This is the way it is. And that's the way it should be.
But you're not the ones that beat them.
You should marry who you want to marry.
You're not the one that beats them.
No, come on. I am not a violent person. I respect my wives. I love them. And I love my kids. No, not at all. Not at all.
All right. So the impossibility brought us there. That's the topic. The impossibility brought. There are those who say, legally speaking, procedurally, this is almost impossible.
No, it is not. What is impossible about it? I remember when I discussed it with the president, as I was saying before, he assured me before I left PDP to APC that he will support it as long as we at the National Assembly are able to do our work. And our work is almost done, because by the time we get to the 3rd reading and then the referendum, the president will take it from there.
A referendum is an expensive task. It's like an election.
It is a plebiscite.
Yeah, it's a plebiscite.
And it will be done.
It will be conducted in Delta.
And the 5 states of
the Southeast.
Of course, yes.
And you think that will happen?
Of course it will happen. It's a process.
The National Assembly has to, the houses of assembly have to concur.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, those are the least of the problems. Because at the right time, Mr. President will call the governors and tell them to append the signatures.
The reason why I recall your legal your expertise or training is the fact that in the last 27 years, the last person that is able to create a state is the military government. And you look at the section of the Constitution that states the creation of states, local government, boundary adjustment, and all of that, it makes it extremely difficult to be able to add to what we have in existence. And that's why a lot of lawyers, a lot of legal minds will tell you it's almost an impossibility happen.
What the Constitution has done is to provide for steps to be taken, provide for things to be done, and you just follow them. For example, this president is very strategic, and he has done wonderful things, and I know he will still do many wonderful things. But the most important thing that he would have done for us, the Aniomas and the Igbos generally, is to give them that 1 state, something that, as you said rightly, that no other civilian administration has done. So he will do it. He will do it because he understands what to do. And you had this discussion with the president. Yeah, he will do it because he feels that there must be peace in Southeast. Mr. President understands, and he loves the Igbos, he loves Southeast. He knows that this has to be done to bring peace. He wants peace across Nigeria. And he knows that this is one thing that is needed to bring peace. and justice to the Igbos.
Anthropologically, there are those who will argue otherwise, who will say anthropologically there's no link between Anioma and the Southeast. Anioma still reside anthropologically, culturally, and ideologically in the South.
I've just told you the South was just a recent creation. Before then, I just told you how we were described as Western Igbos, as Midwestern Igbos, as Bendel Igbos, and now Delta Igbos. So what do they call us Igbos? And as I told you, we all have Igbo names. We all have Igbo culture. We know. Look, I spent 5. Mine is TINUBU, but everybody call me Ned from Ned.
Oh.
You know, there's no. Do you have any Igbo or any Anioma person in this country?
I'm very sure we do.
Ask them their Igbo name. They'll tell you their Igbo name. And was there any time of war of conquest by Igbos across the Niger that they came to conquer us and that compelled us to bear Igbo names? No. Our market days are 4 market days they want to have, and that's exactly what they have in Southeast. And the history is the same.
Let me quickly ask you this. When you say the Onitsha word for come is bia, how does an Anioma person say?
Bia or Bia neighbor. Look, when an Ndoko man speaks, I understand. They also understand me. When an Nika person speaks, we understand each other. I just told you there are different dialects. London, for example, has different dialects. From east of London to west of London to south of London to they all have different dialects.
Senator,
they all speak English.
Senator, we're totally out of time. I'd like to get your final thought.
Anioma will be done as a state in Southeast, and that will bring peace to Southeast, because some of my people are worried about the unrest in Southeast, and I'm assuring them that there will be peace in Southeast once Anioma state is created as the choice of the of the Igbos. Now, what has happened is that the National Assembly Committee has put together a committee to decide on which state to choose from. There are about 7 states from Southeast, and we are one of those states, because we at the public hearing we also presented our case in Enugu. So I am sure, I'm almost certain,
totally out of time.
I'm almost certain that we will be chosen.
All right. Senator Chinedu, otherwise Senator Ned Nwoko. Thank you so much indeed for
Thank
that.
you.
I appreciate
Recently, we heard that Nnamdi has arrived Abuja High Court October 27, 2025. I'm going to take you guys a little recap of what happened recently. So Nnamdi takes over his own defense in court today, October 27, 2025. The leader of the indigenous people of Biafra has sensationally dismissed his legal team, seized his case file, and announced he will defend himself at the Federal High Court in Abuja before Justice James Omotosho. Now, this is what happened so far. Kanu fired his lawyers, led by Chief Kanu Agabi, on October 23. He plans to call 23 powerful witnesses, including Yeson Wike, Abubakar Malin, and General Theophilus Danjuma. These are the people he said he's going to come and act as witness, and also Sanwo-Olu, governor of Lagos State. Now, he has arrived Abuja High Court. Nnamdi Kanu has arrived Abuja High Court today for a crucial hearing in his ongoing terrorism case. After sacking his legal team and taking over his defense, Kanu is set to challenge the court's justification over his extraordinary rendition from Kenya in 2021. Like, guys, I'm going to play you guys a video so you guys are listening to what Obio Ogocha have to say about Nnamdi Kanu's trial. So guys, listen to this, and please drop your thoughts in the comment section below.
To meet the judges at the court 7 specifically. But if you go to court 7, there are video cameras, opportunities to also eavesdrop. I'm not saying that his lordship was in his chamber, but what if he was in chamber? Who else was in chamber with him to eavesdrop on the discussions between Nnamdi Kanu and his lawyers?
Well, they would argue that it's getting all rather paranoid now.
No, it's not. No, if you agreed that because of electronic cameras and audio equipment and all the stuff in DSS would not be adequate for him to have concrete discussions with his lawyers in the defense of his case, and you're moving him from DSS to his court. But the court itself is also...
Yeah, but I mean, obviously the judge has more confidence in the court than the DSS facility.
Well, he's not...
So that's...
No, he moved the matter from the DSS facility to the court.
Yeah, that's what I'm
hoping that the court will be an adequate place.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He obviously has more confidence
absolutely, but then the same court has the same issues as it would be at the DSS. The court is also wired electronically.
Yeah, but maybe the judge, because he's a judge in that court. I mean, I'm just speculating. Has more control and more access to that kind of material.
So what if the judge was eavesdropping on his conversations with his lawyers? Would that not also affect? Would that not also affect the way and manner, the perception that he sees with the
well, I mean, that's purely
and would also lead to bias?
Yeah, that's speculative. But let's move away from that. Usually the decision by someone to fire his lawyers and represent himself tends to be a tactical move. Mm-hmm. It's sometimes used by defendants hoping to challenge the system. I mentioned that at the outset, and potentially gain an acquittal. They believe that by representing themselves, they can control the narrative and create reasonable doubt. But that strategy has also been known to backfire. I give you one example. Mm-hmm. And it's probably an extreme example, mm-hmm. and I don't mean to kind of link it to Nnamdi Kanu, but if you remember the mass murderer in America called Ted Bundy, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. who was eventually executed. Mm-hmm. I mean, he got in, his lawyers were trying to arrange a plea bargain for him mm-hmm. to get 75 years in jail, in other words, life imprisonment, and he got angry and fired all of them mm-hmm. and said he was going to represent himself. Mm-hmm. And he ended up being found guilty, condemned to death, and executed because he did it himself. Whereas the lawyers had already made a plea bargain arrangement which would have kept him alive.
Well, let me tell you something, Doc. I don't know Ted Bundy, but I
don't know him either.
But I know Nnamdi Kanu. If you were in court today listening to Nnamdi Kanu, you will come up with the the absolute impression that this is a very cerebral man. He understands the law. He also understands the challenges that are facing him.
So you think he got a better shot representing himself than the people who have represented him for quite some time? Senior advocates of Nigeria.
He made a decision.
Yeah.
He made a decision with the lawyers yesterday, which included the senior advocates of Nigeria. I'm sure they gave him proper legal advice, and I'm sure that he listened to all their suggestions to him, their briefings to him, and he chose otherwise. Like Kanu Agabi said today, that after the meeting, they came to court today to honor the court and as well to honor Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's request that they be debriefed and that they respect his opinions.
Right.
And Mazi Nnamdi Kanu in court says that for now, he used the word for now, I am standing alone to defend myself. Doesn't mean that tomorrow that you will not see new sets of lawyers, which may include the current lawyers that have been debriefed. Right. But the most important thing for Nnamdi Kanu and everybody who is supportive of him is to ensure that everything that is going to be done goes towards fair hearing, and that every opportunity is given to him as stated in the Constitution.
Right. The point is that he's not asking the court to give him time to choose a new set of lawyers.
No, he has not,
he's saying that he's going to represent himself.
No, he doesn't need to ask the court.
Right.
Even if he brings a new lawyer into the matter that's completely different from the existing lawyers, the lawyers will come under Section 36(6)(b).
They still need time.
They still need time.
Yeah, to familiarize
themselves with the case. And the evidences that have been put forth by the prosecutor. Even if Nnamdi Kanu is taking over his matter, he still needs time to go through his trial files, know the evidences that have been put forth, also be aware of the 23 witnesses that he's already given to the court, and the court has issued summons for all the 23 witnesses and are compelling them to come and testify. So there's got to be adequate time.
Right.
You don't expect that within the 6 days already given, 1 day is gone, that he has 5 days to prepare his defense.
Right.
That's why I was saying that if anything goes contrary to Section 36(6)(b), then he definitely is going to lead and make the trial to be a nullity. Okay. So he has to be given adequate time to look at his case file, to first of all find out whether Agabi and the other team have given him his case file. He can't study everything tonight, so he needs adequate time, and then the facilities to be able to ensure that he prepares himself very well.
Right, we'll watch and see how that develops. Meanwhile, of course, one of his lawyers, Aloy Ejimako, who stuck out his neck by becoming a bit more activist and taking part in the Free Nnamdi Kanu protests on Monday, is under arrest and is being charged with various offences. What's the story there? I understand you've been to see him in detention.
I went there today. I went there 2 days ago and today to visit with him and the other co-accused, Kuje Prison, to visit with them, and hopefully tomorrow the matter was adjourned by the magistrate court till Friday, which is tomorrow, of which we hope the offences being charged are bailable offences, and that the judge will adequately grant bail to allow them, especially Ejimako, who is the engine house or the secretariat of the Mazen Nnamdi Kanu legal team, to arrest him the way they did and to detain him the way. He's also, you can say a conspiracy theorist.
Well, I mean,
that's saying that, it was done deliberately.
Yeah, but
to ensure that Mazen Nnamdi Kanu is devoid of Ejimako's services.
Well, that's one way of looking at it, because Bayo Onanuga, the special advisor on information and strategy to the president, has called for disciplinary action against Mr. Ejimako for what he called professional misconduct.
What professional misconduct?
Well,
Ejimako is a lawyer by profession.
Right.
He's a Nigerian citizen by profession, entitled to the provisions and to the protection of Section 40 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that says that he has a right to peaceful assembly and association. So why is it different? Because he's Ejimako, and then he is no longer entitled to that because he's a lawyer. What about the doctors that came for the protest? What about students that came and many other people that came?
Well, yes,
are they not entitled to the same protection there? So it goes to that pattern, Charles, that I keep saying every single time, that when it comes, especially in the administration of criminal justice, there appear to be two sets of rules in this country, one for the Igbo man and another for every other
but of course the man who organized the protests, Omoyele Sowore, has himself been nicked by the police.
Well, I had that today.
Yeah, we saw the video.
I had that today.
We saw it. We saw the arrest. And it's,
yes, I had that
he's
today.
Been arrested.
He's been arrested. But what took them that long? If they were going to arrest everybody, why didn't they arrest everybody all at the same time? Because of the outcry on what may have appeared to be an injustice, particularly on one particular race or one particular tribe, the Igbo tribe. And then maybe, just like they said, if you look at what the CPO of FCT said, that is almost like an injustice. They have arrested so many others, and then the person who organized the protest was never arrested.
Right.
But even so, has not committed any crime by, protesting under Section 40 of the Constitution. They
claim the reason why Bayo Onanuga was calling for sanctions against a lawyer.
Did they give Tinubu sanction? Did they give Tinubu sanction when Tinubu was protesting himself?
Let me just make the point. The reason, I mean, there are different contexts. The reason,
they're not different. Hold
on. Let me just make the point. The reason is that, according to them, there was a court order. According to them, there was a court order preventing that
preventing them from going to the villa.
Preventing parts of that protest from
going to the villa. Where were they arrested? Were they arrested?
But that in violation of that rule, which is why he's saying that there is an issue of profession. I mean, I'm not a spokesman for him. I'm just telling you why he said that and why also Sowore has been arrested. But let's move on from that because we're running out of time. I mean, I asked this question of Mr. Sowore a few days ago because he was here on the night of those protests. With all the dust that's been raised by the protests and everything else in between, is that likely to make things better or worse for Mr. Kanu?
No, for me, every opportunity to draw the attention of the state to Nnamdi Kanu and the apparent injustice in the prosecution of Nnamdi Kanu. The judge is Yoruba. The prosecution team, all of them are Yoruba. The Attorney General is Yoruba. Mr. President is Yoruba. It appears that, for some elements within the Yoruba, community are looking at this as a new civil war between the Yoruba and the Igbos. It shouldn't be like that.
Yeah, but you're the one who's saying that.
No, but it's the reality.
No. Well, I mean,
it is the reality, Charles.
It depends on how you interpret.
No, but it is the reality.
Right.
Who is superintending the prosecution of Nnamdi Kanu? It's a Yoruba judge. It's not an
so you're saying that there is
Who is the prosecutor? Is the Yoruba prosecutor? Who are the prosecution team? Yoruba.
So you're saying that
the Attorney General is Yoruba.
Are you saying there is a conspiracy?
Absolutely.
Or there is the perception of a conspiracy? Which one are you talking about?
If you look at the way it is going, and they are resilient and adamant in seeing that Nnamdi Kanu is not given adequate provisions of time, adequate facilities, to ensure that he has adequate provisions for his defense. So if you see how it is going, one may have the perception that is a conspiracy of a few Yoruba people against the Igbos. So that's the impression that is out there. It's not just me that is talking. I mean, how can you expect somebody? You're saying that, okay, you have ruled so that you cannot go back. Every other thing will be done in presentation of your addresses. And then you have a holistic judgment.
Anyway,
who does that?
Yeah,
there are judicial issues that needs to be.
Well, I'm not holding brief,
and I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not holding brief.
But I'm not holding brief for anybody. But I don't think it's fair to make an allegation against a set of people when you haven't got a scintilla of evidence to support the point that you are making.
Charles, I just gave you an instance. Excuse me, sir. I just gave you an instance.
Speculative.
The judge is Yoruba. The judge is Yoruba.
It's not fair.
Well, it's not fair for the injustice that is being meted on Nnamdi.
Anyway, let me ask you this. Let's turn away from, because we literally got a minute or so left. Let's turn away from Nnamdi Kanu for a hot second, and let's turn to the continuing. I mean, you seem to be carrying a lot of problems. I mean, from Nnamdi Kanu now to the continuing travails of the Labour Party, your party. I mean, we received a press release today from the interim chairman, Nnamdi Usman, accusing the acting chair of INEC, Mrs. May Abamuche Mbu, who's now handed over to the new INEC chair, Professor Joash Amupitan, of being in criminal collusion with the factional chairman of Labour Party, Julius Abure, over what they described as a fake court order, and they were calling for her arrest. I mean, that sounds monstrously complicated. Well, what's all that about?
I remember the last time I was there, I told you that we do not have any faction in Labour Party. We do not. There's a court judgment that is specific, even reaffirmed by another court judgment of a high court. The matter is going to appeal court again. But what we had expected INEC to do is to have, the interpretation of the court judgment that invalidated Mr. Julius Abure as the chairman and validated Ms. Nnamdi Usman as the acting national chairman for the party. So we're still waiting for INEC to do the needful and to do the right things to ensure that Labour Party has adequately, you know, the leadership that we believe in, which is Nnamdi Usman's leadership, to take the party to greater heights.
Right.
So,
okay. Well, it sounds like
so,
a model to me.
till then, I'm Labour for life, and many of us have remained in the Labour Party.
Well, it depends on how much more life the Labour Party has.
We have a lot of life. We have a lot of life.
Okay. Well,
and that life, given an opportunity in 2027, will be the new leadership of the
well,
Federal
So guys, I'm sure you guys have listened to what Obia got to have to say about Nnamdi Kanu's trial. Now, looking at what is going on today, Nnamdi Kanu is in court, just like I told you guys. He's in court today, and he has been waiting. He came into court and was saying, "Where are my witnesses?" Like, he's waiting for his witnesses. As you guys already know, he said he's going to take over his defense. That he had to sack on his legal teams and said, "I want to take over this defense." Anyway, guys, just like I told you guys, I'll be bringing you guys more updates on Nnamdi Kanu's trial. So stay tuned with me. And but I'm going to be dropping more updates about him, everything that is going on in court. So guys, that's all we have for today. Let me know your thoughts below. And also, if you're coming across my channel for the first time, do well to hit the subscribe button, like and share this video. So guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys again in my next live section.